All right, I wanted to do a quick review or my thoughts on the Xbox Series X, um, and why I love the console so much. As I've had it for a couple weeks now, about 2, 3 weeks, and it's a fantastic console. It really is, and I think that that one of the best things it does is that it changes the way that we as gamers should look at how generations progress. And by that I mean the way that it handles being able to play everything basically is absolutely fantastic, and it's so seamless that upgrading from the 1X to the Series X has just been as smooth as can be. And the benefits that these games get just due to the hardware alone is absolutely fantastic. Um, so yeah, I just want to break down a couple, just break down my thoughts a bit. And I do want to start out with the games because that's the most important aspect to any console. And the games, about a month or so after launch, it's absolutely fantastic. Let's put aside the backwards compatible games, and as they said a while ago, gamers have tried over 3,600 games on Xbox Series X and S. But I do want to focus on the ones that are optimized for it because I think that's what highlights just how much of a gem this next gen consoles are with games like Immortals, Phoenix Rising, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legions, and all that. And so when a game is optimized, it has a little badge X-S. You literally can't miss it when you install it, and it's really cool because I went ahead and tested out a game like Assassin's Creed, for example, on the One X and Series X, and you really can't go back after playing on the next gen hardware because that's how nice it is, man. And the fact that 60 frames per second is being prioritized, or these quality modes have such amazing and incredible detail that it feels like these games, you could tell you're playing on new hardware. And I think the game that highlights that more than anything, surprisingly, is Gears 5. And they just released the Hivebuster DLC. And that game, it looks so good. I believe they said it's playing basically in ultra PC settings, and yeah, you can really tell just how much love and work was put into that upgrade. That and like Forza Horizon 4, they have the benefit of being first party games, so that's why it stands out. But even in games like Gears Tactics, which is a XCOM style game, it's not a game that you think would just look very incredible graphically, and yet on the Xbox Series X, it does. Uh, and so when you play these games and features like auto HDR on either older games, like I was testing with Batman Arkham Knight, it really does add to the experience. And I don't think anything adds more to the experience than the controller. And you think of, when you first hold it, it's subtle. You might even think there's no significant changes. But when you do long term gaming and the DLI, the input, it's that's where you really see the benefits. And even something as small as the share button, something that I use a lot, that I find myself using a lot, comes in handy big time. And the share button is nothing new. Both Nintendo and PlayStation has had it already with their former consoles, but it's new for the Xbox consoles, and it's great. I personally use it a lot. I love capturing cool moments while gaming and awesome screenshots to show how great a game looks. and sharing it with friends and stuff like that. It could, that's something that I've always enjoyed, and I hope it's something people use often because it's a really cool feature. And that controller is so comfortable. No controller for long-term gaming. No controller beats the Xbox controller, in my opinion, and somehow it keeps getting better. Again, it's subtle. Initially, it's subtle, but once you play for hours and hours, that's where you see the benefits. That's where you feel the benefits, I should say. The controller is absolutely brilliant. And it's so nice and clicky, the D-pad. I love the D-pad so much. This is easily the best D-pad an Xbox controller has ever had. I love how firm and clicky it is. They removed, and it feels like they used a better standard of plastic, because I didn't expect it to feel better than the Xbox One controller to the extent that it does, but everything feels so sturdy and complete. And some of the glossy plastic used on the Xbox One controller, that could sometimes feel a little slippery. That slipperiness, since it's all this more matte and textured feel, is gone. Even on the bumpers and D-pads, which is where the glossier plastic was used. So the controller, again, that another phenomenal. The power in the console is stunning, and this is early next gen, so they haven't even come close to reaching its potential. And when you see a game like Cyberpunk 2077 that's struggling on 7-year-old last gen power, and it's smooth as hell on the Xbox Series X, it really highlights the importance, and the growth of the technology inside. And again, this is the infancy stage, and these games haven't peaked like we're going to see with games like Fable and Avowed and all that. And yet, it leaves such a great impression that it does something that I love, and that it makes older games feel new. And that's something that I think PC gamers correlate more than console gamers to something like that. Because backwards compatibility, in a sense, is not particularly new. The 360 had it originally. The PS2 had backwards compatibility and stuff like that. However, the fact that these next-gen consoles are running them better than ever, something that was first done on the One X when somewhere enhanced, but now it's universal. So everything feels better. In games that, like Assassin's Creed Unity, which notoriously didn't run well on last-gen hardware, is perfect and smooth on the Xbox Series X. And so it does everything well. The new games, the old games, and everything in between. It's such a great legacy box that us old school Xbox gamers in particular, I think, will appreciate the most. But I think everybody will end up loving just how every game plays, looks, runs better in some shape or form. And then the prioritization of 60 frames per second in gaming, everything feels nice and smooth. And then some games even have 120 frames per second, which admittedly I haven't tested as much as the 60 frames. But in games like Gears and Dirt 5, it's great stuff. Again, I can't speak much on 120 frames, and you need a TV capable of doing it. But if you have it, again, it's just more like this console is full of potential. And that's a fantastic thing, because the potential is going to be reached 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road as these games come out and more. And games aren't going to be cross-gen because, the hardware, the last-gen hardware, base hardware is so old that they're just going to be struggling to keep up. And that's how it is. That's how technology moves in general. So so once those are phased out, once those cross-gen games are phased out, that's when that's when I think this gen is really going to go into overdrive and impress people. And speaking of impressions, load times. Like some games load so fast that if they have some form of, you know how a lot of games will have loading tips on the loading screens. Yeah, some games load so fast you don't even see that. I was playing Bayonetta. I swear, it's like a second long. The loading screen pops up and then boom boom, you're in the game. You're back in the game instantly. Games like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which took for fucking ever to load, is now loading in less than 10 seconds. I mean, you put your controller down, it's back in the game. And as more games take advantage of that, they're just going to load faster. I mean, these load times are beautiful, man. They're if the load times in might it's one of two features I think more than anything that has made it harder for me to go back. As awesome as HDR auto HDR is, as you know, it's auto in like 60 frames per second in a lot of these games, especially in open world games, fantastic stuff. That and quick resume, the loading times and quick resume are the two features that has made it impossible for me to go back. I don't know how I live without quick resume in gaming. That's how much I love quick resume. Uh, the fact that you jump from game to game to game, and it picks up where you left off. It's so revolutionary that it's changed my gaming habits for the better. Because if I'm into playing one game, getting in the mood to play another, I could just jump into it, no problem. Now, there's going to be an update to make every game work quick resume, because some don't. Like Watch Dogs Legions, unfortunately, don't at the moment it's making this video. So it's like that's a game that I find myself not playing as much because if it does, like, the quality of life changes in the Series X is so good that a game that doesn't support quick resume at the moment feels like it's bogging down my experience. When I could jump from Immortals to Batman instantly, Batman to Gears instantly, Gears to Valhalla instantly. So when I come across a few games that don't support it, it's like, it's like I don't really feel like dedicating my time knowing that once I do something else or jump to another game, I'm gonna have to restart from the beginning and all that. Quick resume is it's my personal favorite feature so far. And it's that and loading times, just how fast it is, blazing fast, it's made it impossible for me to go back because I'm not going back to playing a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey that took me. I recorded it before. It took me 3 minutes from home screen to the game. That's cut by a third on the Series X, and then with quick resume, it's no loading. You're just back in the game. So the Xbox Series X overall, to me, it's a win. It's worth every dime. It's worth every penny. And it's something I can't wait for more and more gamers to adopt. Unfortunately, they're still hard to get. But that's the territory with new consoles. And it's a real shame because, it's going to take a bit longer for more and more people to experience just how great the quality of life improvements are, and just how great these games look and perform. When gaming is at its best to me when it feels like an experience. And for me, what makes a game feel like an experience is the gameplay and the fact that the controller has improved latency makes everything feel smoother. Doing combos in Batman versus the older consoles, it feels great. So when the experience is better, gaming is more enjoyable. And, these games are already fantastic as they are. So The Xbox Series X, it feels next gen. It looks, even the design of the console just looks so different from everything we've had. You know, it's, and gaming is more than a box. And the only one negative right now is storage. It has 1 terabyte, and that, SSDs and stuff like, and it's custom, so it's expensive. And even buying which I haven't bought yet, even buying the memory card, the Seagate memory card, or whatever it's called, expansion pack, I think it's called, is over $200. That's just too expensive. Even somebody like me who buys everything, sometimes you reach a point where something like that for expansion is just too hard to justify at the moment. So I'm probably going to wait until the price comes down. But still, the storage, that is the one negative, because these games, some of them over 100 gigabytes, and that's a good chunk of your storage right there. Like at the moment of recording, I have 15 games installed to my Xbox. 10 of them Xbox Series X enhanced, optimized, and the other 5 are more your standard backwards compatibility with whatever benefits. And that's it. Just 15 games and it's filled. And that sucks because I find it hard to pick and choose which games to install, which games to keep, to keep playing. So the storage is the one thing that I could see, it won't hurt your experience, but it won't make things as fluid as it could be, because it just fills up too damn fast. But other than the storage, everything else is fantastic. The controller, better than ever. The games are better than ever. And it's future proof. So if you ever upgrade your TV to get 120 frames per second, you're set. Everything is set. And with all these games announced as well, the future of Xbox gaming is brighter than ever. I haven't been this, I'm one of those people who never had a problem with the original Xbox One launch. But the excitement of the future Xbox right now tops even that. There are so many games coming, so many games announced, and the games you could get and play right now is also brilliant. So overall, if you are a gamer, get the next gen console. The only people I would tell to wait is if you're okay with current performances, and you don't feel like putting 500, 300 down on the Series S right now. And since these consoles are kind of hard to find at the moment, you could wait. But I would say once it's available, upgrade anyway. Trust me, these consoles are made for every type of gamer, not just the hardcore. For the casuals who enjoy Minecraft, Call of Duty, and Madden, that's for you as well, because those games are optimized. For the hardcore like me who play everything, for the RPG lovers who's going to play their Final Fantasies and Cyberpunks, this console's for you as well. And the Xbox Series S, which I believe even had more new Xbox adopters, is also for you. So storage, the storage is the pain, but that's gonna be corrected in time. Everything else is a major win. Everything else is a must, and you're going to play this console, and then you're gonna wonder, how did I live with long ass load time, or how did I live without quick resume? Unless you're the type to just play one game at a time, or you only play a handful of games. And even then, you're still going to get the benefits, because games have auto HDR, for example, or games that previously struggled running at 60 or running at a smooth frame rate. So, yes, upgrade if you have the money. And if you can find it right now, upgrade. And then in the future, where there's no issues to finding these consoles, I'd say just do it. Upgrade. Your experience won't be negatively impacted if you upgrade, but it will if you do. Cyberpunk is the proof. It's probably the biggest proof why it's, at least sticking with the base Xbox One and Xbox One S, why it's time to move on from that. Because that's 7-year-old hardware, and games are going to struggle more as they take more advantage of all these amazing features like ray tracing. So that's my thoughts on the Xbox Series.